Hey guys, this is Justin here. I'm doing an audio review with my buddy Eddie here, and we're going to talk about a retrospective of the Halloween franchise. Might as well just get our thoughts on it, like how we feel like from all the way from the original series and the remakes. So let's talk about from order from one to the remakes. Well, what do you think is with the first movie? Like, what's your really like? What do you like the most about the first movie?
1978 or 1970.
Yeah, the 1978 version.
I don't know where to begin with this, but I really thought for its time, in that era, it was a great, creepy movie. I liked how he was very mysterious instead of being before. I mean, they didn't. All right, before time.
It was one of the early slasher films.
Early slasher films before we would start seeing movies like that where we kept seeing the killer everywhere. I like how he was very just quick, mysterious.
He was mysterious, like he was stealthy.
Yeah, I mean, and I like, and you seen him. I like how the way they shot the movie was perfect because I really like how they kept a great distance from him. You could see him.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention throughout the whole movie, you can realize even in the most parts of scenes that you would not think, oh, it's not about a killer, it's about two friends just talking. They actually have them in distances. You pay attention to them. I thought that was pretty brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
With my thing with Halloween, because I remember when I was younger, I was like scared watching the movies. My mom and dad, when I was younger, I used to watch slasher films, but my parents always said, "Do not watch Halloween. That movie will scare the shit out of you."
Yeah.
So I watched the first time. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it made me terrified of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Now this is a guy. You know how the story goes. Basically, it's a kid who he kills his sister when he's younger, and then he's in a mental institution. He comes out, and he goes after his we'll get to the second one because you know the twist. But basically, he goes around killing babysitters because that's what his motivation was. The first one, you had no backstory to see him like that, and that's what made him creepy. Because at the time, nobody expected a movie like this.
And I still believe the movie holds up to this day.
It does.
I still go back and watch it. And and the picture, I mean, I don't even bitch about the picture being so old looking and outdated. I actually really still like the fucking movie.
Because it was John Carpenter's first movie, too. You know, it was his first movie.
Yeah.
He was on a very low budget, too. It was like $10,000 or something. But whatever.
Like I said, Donald Pleasant was a good choice for Dr. Loomis.
I mean, it was Jamie Lee Curtis's first movie.
Yep, her first movie. I don't know, man. It was really good. Like I said, I like the creepy shadows. I like how they kept it more mysterious.
Yeah, but also, you know, the
I will
thing
give
is,
that, and I don't say a lot because you know how I'm a straightforward kind of guy. I like to see what's going on. I like to know history of everything. But for this movie, I really liked the whole creepy of not knowing what he was or who he is. He just was there. He popped out of scenes. You'd see him in the background when she's walking around the store. He's out in the back. He pops out of the grass. I mean, he's just everywhere. That's why I like the man. I will say that's a movie that creeped me out because they did that.
Yeah. Not to mention, with the first movie, you notice something else is that the movie didn't actually have any gore.
Could you imagine? Yeah. Well, I would have loved to see a little bit. It could have done. I mean, it still holds up good, but it could have done all right if it did a little bit extra, add some more.
But it was the beginning of
it was the beginning of showing us what a slasher movie is going to do.
Now, they did have movies before that kind of built the slasher genre, like Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I think that Halloween was like one of the more like modern, because after Halloween, this was like the first one that grew a lot for the mainstream crowd. Yeah. Because after that, you had movies like Halloween or Friday the 13th, movies that kept coming out every year with slasher films. Yeah. So Halloween was like the breaking point of slasher movies.
Let's see what I was going to say.
Not to mention, you also get like the score too. Like John Carpenter did the music. Yeah, you know, he did the music.
I think all the scores were really good there. I mean, they ended up being all iconic. Yeah. Of the film, and you hear it everywhere. If you hear it on, you know, you can buy the songs, the scores, and have them out, and you can hear somebody playing them on Halloween night, and it just creeps you the shit, the fuck out.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it, like. You can hear that theme and not even watch the movie. You're just like, I know where that's coming from.
But not to cut you off, but yeah, it still holds you off. The movie still holds up. I like it. Really good movie. Now,
Part
getting
2.
to Halloween 2. of course you're going to want to change the setting. You always want to change the setting. And I think I like that preferred because I didn't like where they were really going to go for, because from what I was reading, they were actually going to try to make it a year later, which would have made it kind of. I really think a year later would not have been good at all. But I think what they did was make it the night over, try to continue in it.
Yeah,
I think that was really like a better,
because the movie itself. Well, spoiler for those who haven't seen the original. The movie ends with a cliffhanger, you know, where it basically part 2 continues right where it left off.
Right, well, that's what I like. And of course, all right, what are you gonna do? Do we keep doing her running around the town? No,
you could in a hospital.
Yeah, so we put her in a hospital, and then she's stuck in this big ass hospital. Imagine the biggest hospital wherever you guys live, and imagine being stuck. And nobody's there, and only you and Michael Myers in that place. And I'm talking about one of those hospitals, and trust me, everybody's seen them. The hospitals that absolutely does not have any exits, it feels like. It's a maze.
Not to mention, if you notice that in the second movie, because Laurie Strode, she ends up in the hospital, but also you notice that like at the beginning of the movie, the hospital's like kind of full, but then as the movie goes on, there's like barely anybody fucking there. Yeah. It's like completely empty.
Yeah, I mean, just everybody's going home, people were, it's weird. But I like how they did it, because they didn't put the whole movie in the hospital, which would have made it boring because you wouldn't know where she could run all the time.
Yeah.
So they did it smart. She may be in the hospital, but they wait for the epic scene later in the movie to bring him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine the whole movie of her running around the hospital? That would have been sucky. So they leave him on a journey throughout the whole place looking for her. He doesn't know she went to the hospital. So he's just looking around and then picking off people one by one. He's being searched. The whole half of the movie really doesn't take place in the hospital. She's already trying to get well, but it's between him, Donald Pleasant, and
the Sheriff Brackett. Yeah.
And other people.
Well, not to mention, what breaks this movie from the first one is that, if you notice that, 1981 was the movie came out.
Yeah.
We had already seen slasher films coming out after Halloween.
Yeah.
What separates this film from the first one is that, because John Carpenter didn't direct it, it was made by the same guy who later did Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah.
Rick Rosenthal. But what separates this movie is that this was the boom of slasher films.
Yeah.
This movie tries to up the gore by showing a lot more like brutality and shit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more. And you also see Michael Myers killing people that he wouldn't normally kill.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of makes it like a separate film from the first one.
Yep.
Also, the fact that you got, what's his name?
Spoiler alert for if anybody has seen this. I'm expecting that everybody who's listening to this review already seen Halloween, or else you wouldn't want to hear our reviews over it. But I do want to throw out there, a lot of people really don't remember Part 2 doing this at all. But if you pay attention, there's a dude they thought was Michael Myers they do kill in the middle of the movie. It ended up being that dude that she's supposed to get with in the first one. What's his name?
What's his name? I forgot. Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, not Travis. Shit. I'm trying to think.
Oh, man.
Oh, I remember his name. I can't remember.
Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer, yeah.
Ben Tramer. And a lot of people don't realize that they were sneaky enough to throw that in there. Because that one kid, one of his friends goes, yeah, our friend Ben Tramer didn't show up and he was wearing this mask.
And then when
they realized that they ran him over.
And then when they show up in the autopsy scene, Dr. Loomis puts together, like, Michael Myers is 21 and this kid was like 18.
Yeah.
So they checked the dental records and they find out who he was.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting little trivia.
Because they go up to Donald and they said, yeah, our friend Ben Tramer didn't show up. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty smooth. Because obviously they didn't bring really Ben Tramer in the first one at all.
No.
They just talked about him. They couldn't just leave him an open, I don't know why they brought it up to him, but hell, it was a good send-off closer.
But also, it was, the second one also makes it more like it makes the hospital look like a haunted house.
Yeah.
There's parts where Michael Myers, he comes like out of nowhere with some parts.
Yeah.
My favorite part, and again, spoiler, but my favorite kill is the part where he takes that girl's head and then stuffs it right in that hot tub and her fucking face burns off.
When he puts it on high.
He puts it on high and then burns her fucking face down.
Yeah.
But also, what made that movie so good about the second one was that it was trying to be a closure. Yeah. Because John Carpenter out said when he did the first one, he didn't know it was going to be a franchise.
Yeah, he thought it was going to be the straight-to-video. It ain't going to be shit.
Right. Yeah. Well, basically, with the second,
credited an iconic.
And so when he did the second one, because he wrote it, he didn't direct it. He wrote the second one. He was like, well, if I'm going to do the second one, I want to actually do a closure properly. So what did he do? He has the final showdown with Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis, and they both blow the fuck up with the hospital. Yep. That, to me, there's no reason Michael Myers would come back.
Yeah.
I
mean, after you start looking at the other deaths in the future of the movies franchise,
that's what I'm saying.
You think that should have been the one they called it quits right there, but
yeah. But right. I say that for a second one, it still is a good movie, but it still has flaws because a lot of people also said that
it's very slow.
It is.
It is a lot slower than the first one.
But most people are kind of thrown off by the fact that the twist they have with Michael Myers is the brother of Laurie Strode. It's like. Some people were kind of thrown off by it because, like, how does that make sense? Because why, if he's a sister, why exactly would he know? Like, I don't know. They bring this up all the time. Like, some people are thrown off by like how they're related because they don't recall at all her being from the first movie and
that's where Rob Zombie fixed it.
Yeah,
because
I know,
the first one. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why they left it so big of a mystery, but you will find that in 70s, 80s movies where movies in 70s, 80s did not really go into detail with anything they've ever made. Did. So, even though the first one, they knew they were going to be sisters, brothers and all that stuff, they just don't, they don't put that together in movies.
It wasn't until we'll get to this. It wasn't until H2O when we finally got to see the dynamic between them two.
Well, it also late 90s is when we start realizing 2000s movies start realizing, you know what, maybe when we remake movies or we continue movies, we need to do more backstory.
Yeah.
And you can kind of think that was Scream, the movie Scream, because Scream kind of introduced, let's start doing that.
Yeah. Well, going back to Halloween 2, but that to me is like, it's a good sequel, and it definitely closes the series, what could have been, but because the movie made money, we decided to get to 3. Now, we're not going to talk that much about 3, because, Eddie has a lot of problems with it. But
obviously, if everybody's seen it, we know it ain't got Michael Myers, so we're going to go ahead and stick with the Halloween movies that Michael Myers.
Okay, but just to give my initial thought, I still like the film as its own movie. Like, I think that as a creepy Halloween kind of movie, it's pretty good. But you can't compare it to the other films because it doesn't have Michael Myers.
Yep.
So we're going to have to skip that one.
Skip that one.
But
now, here comes
4.
All right. Let me go and say this right now. When it comes to the original Michael Myers movies, we're about to talk about my absolute favorite one coming up.
The sequels.
The 4th one.
Yeah.
I really love Return of Michael Myers.
Yes.
I thought Daniel Harris was an excellent Jamie Lloyd. But that's just throwing that in there. But I'm just saying overall the movie kept the creepiness of Michael Myers again.
Yeah, it did. But also,
I remember I had nightmares about roofs because of the roof scene.
Yeah.
I remember what scared me was in the dark on Halloween night with the candle, and then rocking chair, and then him getting up, and then with that score playing, and then he just jabs that gun right into him.
Yeah.
And then he squeezes that dude's throat. I mean, I remember growing up watching that, and because I'm from the 80s. Wow. That movie was I really thought I highly give that highly played.
But also, I do appreciate what they did with the story for what it did do. Because basically, you have 10 years later, Michael Myers is still somehow alive, which I still have a problem with that because I don't believe a guy who fucking blew up in a hospital can still live.
A lot of controversy, but they're going to bring him back. So here you go. There's a few things that they had lack of, but it didn't bother people back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, where is Jamie Lee Curtis? Well, it's been so many years later from the second one. Jamie Lee Curtis didn't come back
Laurie Strode.
do her role. She was gone. She decided not to go with the movie no more.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to replace Laurie Strode with anybody because they thought respect to Jamie Lee Curtis because her role was iconic.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided, let's just say she died in a car wreck.
And she had a daughter.
And then now we're going to try to start a new trilogy
with the daughter.
Because they're going to respect
Carpenters.
In that with Carpenters. All right, even though wasn't really ended the trilogy, but let's just say it felt like it was a closure. And then let's start a new Halloween, but still stick that story as in he's going to keep continuing to his legacy because he didn't realize she had a daughter. I got to go again and kill because he's out to kill his relatives.
Yeah, but also a trivia note is that Jamie Lloyd, the character that Daniel Hurst plays, she's named after Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little homage they did with the character, with the actress that played Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
But what I also too love with Halloween 4 is just that this is one of the few Halloween movies that actually sets the mood of Halloween. Yeah. Like the opening scene where it shows the credits, where it's all like orange.
Yeah.
That to me sets the mood of what we're going to watch.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And the scene where like the kids are trick or treating, and you have like the part where. Like the foggy parts where Michael Myers is...
I thought the whole darkness... I thought this movie actually had, believe it or not, out of the 1, 2, and out of most of the series, not talking about Raw Zombies yet, but out of the original growing up from the 70s and 90s type movies, I think 4 had the most creepiest Michael Myers.
But also,
I think he was creepy.
The Mask, too. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like The Mask, but I think The Mask...
You don't want to talk about The Mask. We'll get to that when we talk about 5.
Yeah.
That was the worst mask I ever seen in any Michael Myers movie.
But I do like the 4th one, was Mask, because The Mask made it... Even though it was like pure white, where he is starting to look... Because for those who don't know, the original Mask was... it was a William Shatner mask from like Star Trek that they spray painted white.
The only thing that I have the only thing that you have issue with 4 is you got to top how you killed the killer in the original one.
Yeah.
In the last one. Well, the last one was the second one with Michael Myers. You blow him up to just shoot in a shootout.
Yeah,
that's just really unlevels. All right, you blew him up. And I'm about to get to this. We want to... Alright. This is where 2 mixed up, but you gotta respect it. They were gonna go with the anthology series with this. But, how did Donald Pleasant survive? Dr. Loomis survive?
That's what I was questioning.
And he just comes out with just... It looks like...
a fucking scar.
Looks like the dude from Terminator with the little scar right in the face. Look like freaking John Connor. Dude, you got blown up. You should have been melted by now. If not, you should look like Freddy when he came. I'm like, you look like... Really, he looks like John Connor in the upcoming Terminator Genesis with the line right here.
Yeah.
Dude, that was not all that got burnt. Don't try to play me. But anyways, movies in the 80s and 70s didn't care about that. What you thought about the previous film. They just continued the film. Alright, well, if I thought that mindset, cool, we got Donald Pleasant back. All right,
because he is the heart of the original series. Yeah. But also, you could also look at like 4 is like a sequel, but slash. Well, they didn't use it.
Maybe they should have rendered the ending of the second one and not and kind of had the mindset that we don't see Donald Pleasant die. Therefore, did he get out? Like maybe get rid of Donald Pleasant's, and then Michael Myers just walks in and sees the smoke, the oxygen gas coming out, and then sees a light getting ready to turn on that switches, and no Donald Pleasant there at all.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have rendered, but obviously the guy who did 4 had no rights to the second one because that was John Carpenter's and the other guy's movie, so he can't go and render somebody else's movie.
But I also say that with Dr. Loomis coming back, you can also look at 4 like... They didn't use this term back then, but you can kind of look at it as a sequel, but also a reboot of the franchise. Because basically, they want to continue Michael Myers because, well, here's a little backstory for you. Back when Halloween 3 came out, going back to Halloween 3 again, they originally wanted to make an anthology series, right?
Yeah.
What their original idea was, because Halloween 3 didn't do so well with the audience, they were actually going to bring Michael Myers back a different way. He wanted... The story was, in the original script, was that... The people of Haddonfield, the kids grew a lot of fear over him, and basically Michael Myers comes back, but in people's nightmares.
Yeah.
The reason they didn't go with that idea was because they didn't want to copy Freddy.
Yeah.
Because if they went that idea, that would have pissed off audiences. Like, no, that's Nightmare on Elm Street. You can't.
Which I'm kind of glad, because I really don't want to see what we've seen in the first two, to just him popping in nightmares. That would have just threw me off. I don't think it would have brought a success, because he's successful because he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
He's more of a serial killer, and that's what makes him perfect. I don't want to see no dream sequence Michael Myers. But anyways,
well, technically, 4 does have nightmare sequences in it when Jamie Lloyd.
Well,
in the fourth one.
We'll get to all that.
Well, I'm talking about the fourth one when she's like seeing images.
Yeah, seeing images of him, but she really has that in 5, actually, more.
Yeah. But going back to
5, she kind of reminded me of the bitch from Children of the Corn in the original one, where she's doing the drawing. The drawing in Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
And she knew the outsiders were coming. She was doing that shit, and then doing that for Dr. Loomis in the 5th one. And Dr. Loomis was a kind of a prick in the 5th one, because he kind of...
Well, before we get to the 5th one...
Yeah, we can't talk about
the fourth one. I will say that it was a good fresh start. It was a good idea to bring back Michael Myers, but also give the slasher genre a new vibe. Because you got to think, when that movie was going on, slasher films were just doing the same shit over and over.
Yeah.
But also, it was the straight man of the group.
Yeah.
Halloween was supposed to be straight up scary.
Yeah.
The other slasher films that were coming at the time, they were trying to be more fun with the kind of shit.
Okay, and then how did you like the ending?
I liked the ending for what it was, but at the same time... Because I have good things and bad things about the ending. The ending where we have Jamie Lloyd, she's at home, and she puts the mask on, and she goes to stab her stepmom. That, to me, would have been a good fucking concept.
That is a good thing. I'm not talking about the ending. I'm talking about more like when they're shooting him out.
When they're shooting Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Okay, my initial thought is that it was disappointing, because I'm just kind of like... A weak death. Because
such a good movie.
You can't kill... Okay, for a guy who's supposed to be blown up, you can't just kill him by gunfire. Yeah. You can't. Because we know that when he goes down that well, we already know before watching the 5th one, he's going to fucking live.
You know the thing I don't understand? And I'm going to kind of mix 4 and 5 with this. You kill Michael Myers. This guy has been a threat for how many years in Haddonfield?
That was the time it was 10 years.
10 years. So you kill him, and you know this guy, you got to get rid of him by all means. So you shoot him. Knowing that maybe Donald Pleasant would say, hey, blowing up didn't fucking work, so you might want to go down that hole. How is they just going to walk off and assume he just died? And, instead of going down there, it doesn't even show that. He just, a year, they just go, oh, he's gone, after blowing that dynamite. Oh, he's just probably gone. Let's all go home and have breakfast and have a nice time.
Yeah.
And then, knowing that blowing up didn't work, you just fucking shot him, you dumbass. So, you would think in real life it'd all bring investigators. You had your top, best military men down that hole, finding him, bringing him back, bringing him out, blowing him and cutting him up in pieces. No. In this world, in Haddonfield, they just go after that guy keeps not dying. Just shoot him, and let's go and eat breakfast and come back next year. And then Michael Myers was able to get taken care of by a civilian.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're about to get to 5, because 5 was really disappointing.
5 pissed me off.
5 was all kinds of fucked up.
But with going back to 4, but also the thing I do love about 4 too was and this is basically ruined by the fucking 5th movie.
Yeah.
Was the chemistry between Jamie Lloyd and her stepsister Rachel, because them two make the movie work together too. Their relationship together.
They do, but
I know 5 ruins it.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
then
like 4.
Yeah, they do. They have a really good sister.
Even though they're foster sisters, they're still like...
I call them sisters.
Yeah.
But you get to 5.
5 is, yeah.
Unfortunately, their relations are screwed up. You got Donald Pleasant. Out of all the movies he's done with the Michael Myers, he's just totally different in this one. He's just all off the bat shit.
He's going like fucking... It's like he's on like PTSD or something. He's going like...
But then again, you could actually say that's a good concept, because the guy's fucking seen this dude he's treated all his life, and the dude would not fucking die.
Yeah.
And the dude keeps coming back to life. You would lose it.
You could even argue that
you got to think, because Donald Pleasant kind of dedicated his life to one patient.
But also, with the first movie, he said, Dr. Loomis always said that we're not dealing with a man, we're dealing with an evil. He said, these are the eyes of a psychopath.
Yeah.
You know, and that's true, because you're looking at a guy who tried to get blown up, but also can never die. It's like, well, we'll talk about 6 about that, about fucking him being immortal and shit. Because that, to me, pissed me off, too.
But
going back to 5.
5. Alright, let's start off 5. I started off with the ridiculous
Opening?
No, let me do this. Let me say this. Alright. Let me start off by the opening scene. Yeah, boom. Alright, you leave off with 4. You're trying to do what you did with 1 and 2. Keep them to boom, boom, like that. You tried to, but then you automatically say a year later. But anyways, let's go and talk about a civilian taking care of Michael Myers. Okay.
Yeah.
He's been blown up. You're talking about a guy that's been blown up. They shot him in the first one. They blew him up in the second one. They had to go back to shooting in the fourth one. I mean, it's like we're just sticking with just a few ways to kill him. And this is really getting old. This is getting old. Because, alright. You shoot him, right? You shoot him up. They had a shootout in the fourth one. Well, you have a civilian taking care of him. So you're telling me that civilian didn't hear up from above all that ruckus going on? And he doesn't watch the news, so he must be a cave dweller? So he doesn't know about this Michael guy? And he's taking care of him. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael died with a mask. Okay. Tell me how that original mask was able to grow legs, sprout legs, walk off, and then a new one walks in to take its place.
Exactly.
And then 2, are to assume that Michael Myers has gotten lazy now? Because in this one, he doesn't even want to tuck the mask in or look anything. He just leaves it. He just goes. He looks like a junkie, like he's on crack. Like the mask is all like. And the mask is all over the place. And then, like, it looks like he's got a shrunken head because with this mask, I don't know who fucking made this mask, but it seemed like the neck is, like, that long on it, and then the head and eyeballs are way up here.
Yeah.
The hair don't even look right with the mask.
No, it doesn't.
The hair doesn't even look right. Man,
But also, did you notice, too, like, how his hair was actually longer than it was in the other 2 movies?
And Michael couldn't give any but a thank you to that fucking dude. He just kills him all of a sudden. And Michael's actually not been dead this whole year. Because it shows drifting in and out during the credits that he's awake and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, he's awake, he's drifting off, so he's alive. This guy has no... So you're telling me, alright, Michael's been blown up. Michael's been shot. Michael should be already been rotten from corpses like Jason does. So this guy that ends up taking care of Michael Myers in the 5th one doesn't see anything odd about a decaying guy he's taking care of? Oh, no, Michael Myers isn't decaying? Are you fucking kidding me? Why Michael Myers dies and unlike where we see with Jason, we see with other killers, Michael Myers' skin still looks normal. Why does his skin still look normal?
This is the only thing that it shows is just his hand.
Yeah, in the 5th one, but guess what? Go to the feature films, when you get there about H2O, it goes to normal skin again.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. This guy really, I mean...
Well, to be fair, okay, actually, you're right, because H2O does follow the first 2 movies, so even still, if he got blown up, he's like a fucking full hand.
Yeah. And not only that, you could tell the hands of what he looked like in the second one versus the one in H2O. You can clearly almost see it look like a 20-year-old playing the H2O because the skin looks young from a young kid.
Yeah, but
young guy.
But about 5, the one thing that I was actually looking forward to the most when I saw when I saw the 4th movie,
yeah,
I was watching on AMC. Remember when AMC used to fucking like cut the shit out all the time? They cut all the violence, and all they still do.
Yeah,
that was the worst way to watch it. But when I saw that ending of 4, I was like, you know what? This would be kind of cool what they do with the 5th one, where the Jamie Lloyd is going to be like Michael Myers. She's like little mini Michael Myers.
Yeah.
No, they don't even do that shit in the 5th one.
First of all, you don't see ain't much of Jamie Lloyd other than her schizo ass in a hospital. Psycho. All right, she's psycho. Cool. We're it shows damage to her from what happened in the previous one. So she's sitting here and she's pulling children of corn where she's making drawings. I know where he's at everywhere. Yeah. All right, you know where he's at everywhere. But this comes later in the film because it contradicts itself when it comes to she not knowing that he's around the fucking corner. You know where he's at.
Exactly.
You were telling me that because you kept having sequels that he's walking up the corner, he's going left, he's going right. Now you don't know where the fuck he's at later in the film.
Not to mention...
Man, the movie had a lot of problems.
My most complaint of that movie is when they kill off Rachel. The scene where she's getting out of the shower, going to the bedroom,
and still then fucking... a shitty fucking...
It was a weak death, too, because you didn't even see it.
No.
You see Michael Myers take the glass, and then you see a stabber, but then it cuts away, and then it cuts back to Jamie.
I noticed with the Halloween 5, also, what they did... This is probably the only Michael Myers film they actually did this. They actually cut away almost all the killings.
Even the old man? Huh? From the beginning?
I don't remember. I remember watching it not so long ago, but I can't remember that scene. But other than the rest of it, it's more... And, well, he also kills that dude in broad daylight at noon, the teenager.
Which was stupid. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, I'm like... Not to mention, like, okay, I know he kills people in daylight, but you're giving yourself away, dude. You don't fucking kill people.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like he was more urban because he was really doing more of his fucking... walking around, and I'm telling you right now, this is where they really fucking up because they don't got the creepy suburban neighborhood with this. Mm-hmm. They start bringing him in fucking town, like me and you walking down Garrison. He's over there. I mean, that's just kind of.
There was one part I do like.
And it's at noon. It's broad daylight.
Yeah,
and he's just walking around all daylight, like, ooh, hey, remember that guy that we always supposed to be seeing on the news? But that guy, there he is, right there. And no one fucking notices this dude.
Well, you know what I also hate, too, about the film is that my most complaint about that movie, besides the whole concept being ruined, is the fucking girl in the movie. You know, the bratty, the annoying
one
friend.
That takes her,
the one that
takes over his... You know how we have that fucking great relationship with Jamie and her sister? And the fourth one? Well, guess what? Both characters lose... connection in this one because they really don't have a connection. You got her sister kind of talking to her like shit. I mean, no one likes each other, but then they try to bring this annoying bitch to take over for her sister,
which I'm like, she's more annoying than her.
Be the new one. I'm like,
all she does about the one is like, I'm gonna do this.
All right, not to get quickly to the end because I really want to talk about the ending. All right, tell me why in the first one he gets shot, right? To death. The second one he gets blown up.
Yeah.
And the fourth one he gets shot to death. And the fucking fifth one he gets blown up.
No.
It's like a copycat.
No, in the fifth one...
The fifth one that blew up that
thing.
No,
in the fifth one he Dr. Loomis beat the shit out with a rope. With a chain.
You don't remember that jail scene then.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, no, he didn't get blown up. Because... we gotta get to this shit.
Yeah, that's when the cold comes in.
No, listen.
And the fire starts.
The Shadow Man.
Yeah, the Shadow Man shows up.
The guy in the suit who comes.
Alright, I stand correct. He does get beat. It's him and Dr. Loomis. Which, you stoop even lower because now you're saying that Michael Myers can be killed by the fist. By an 80-year-old man. 70-year-old man. He can be leveled by the fist. After all that ass whooping, he can't die. You're telling me he could take an old man's fist and that's it? There you go. Are we to assume that Donald Pleasant is Superman?
I guess, because think about it, he survived from being blown up in a hospital to being beaten up by Michael Myers.
This dude gets fucking cut up bad in this one. Still won't fucking die. Alright, cool. You're keeping Donald Pleasant alive. I mean, at least you're not going to kill him off and then say, hey, he came back to life again in the sixth one.
Yeah.
So anyways, but this is where this is when they get to that cult, and I start really, to be honest with you, I start losing all respect for Halloween.
Well, to the ending of 5. The ending of 5, I will say, like, it was interesting what they were trying to do because it had a good cliffhanger, like the fourth one. Mm-hmm. Because the fifth one basically... Because you do see this guy early on. You remember there's parts in the fifth one where you see this guy getting off the bus. He's like this mysterious, shadowy figure.
Yeah.
You see him at the very end when they capture Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And he frees Michael Myers from the cell. I'm like, okay, so are we to assume that Michael has allies? Because how does that make any fucking sense?
Now you get ridiculous because I like the serial killer. I don't like this whole... oh, I'm turning to the Avengers, Team 6. You know.
Then we get to fucking 6, which I lost all respect
Oh,
for.
man, dude. 5, you think... 5, I lost a lot. I mean, I don't think how I was able to watch 6. I think I watched it because it's a Halloween movie, thinking they fixed it. They didn't. They didn't.
No. The beginning...
This is a pure... You're bringing religion now into a movie. I really don't want to hear it because it's supposed to be a serial killer movie, not no fucking Christian cult.
A slasher film, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
but
just
also,
a slasher movie.
You also have the idea where... Okay, this one
John Carpenter, if he watched 6, he probably wanted to shoot himself.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, he made that guy for a reason. I thought he made him better.
Well, can you get the idea, like, Michael himself is, like, himself immortal? Because, think about it, the guy survived...
He can be immortal, okay? Do I see Jason movies teaming up with motherfuckers? Do I see Freddy teaming up with motherfuckers? No.
Here's the story how 6 goes. Originally, there was a producer's cut, right?
Yeah.
The producer's cut was supposed to be about how Michael, his backstory, why he came to kill, and all that. Which is interesting, because I want to see exactly what happened. What drove him insane.
Yeah.
We get the backstory where, basically, you see this in 4 and 5 and 6, where there's this curse, that you see, like, this thorn mark that's on his arm. Yeah. And so you see that with 4, 5, and 6. And so you get the idea, like, okay, maybe he's, like, possessed. Or maybe he's, like, I don't know, like, working on his own.
I would have took more of a witch type.
Yeah, kind of like
that. Would have been creepy with a fucking witch. I'm talking about not just your any given witch. I'm talking about get a creepy bitch, like, off of Pumpkinhead. Mm-hmm. And then she's the one that possessed him. That is more believable than some fucking goddamn religion cult.
Yeah, but there's the story, that was the producer. The producer's cut basically had more backstory, but also the producer's cut also had more scenes of Dr. Loomis. Because Dr. Loomis is supposed to come in and basically...
And this is the last time we'll see him alive.
Yeah. Because Dr. Loomis was supposed to have more ways of... he comes in to stop Michael Myers one last time.
Yeah.
And when the fucking...
What's funny, as Paul Rudd...
Yeah, he's
so young,
and he just looks like he's fucking bored in that movie. I'm like, oh my god, this is...
I mean, he wanted to do a movie like that because of the fact that it's a Halloween movie, but the fact that he knew that it was going to be a low...
And that was like his earliest movie. So I was like, damn, I ain't seen anything before that.
Yeah.
But the producers were wanting to make a good movie, if their idea was, but when the fucking director got a hold of it, guess what? Yeah. He abolished all things that were even relevant to the original movie. You know what he did? And this caused a lot of backlash with the crew members. Dr. Loomis, or Donald Pleasance, had a fallout with the director because the director said that he doesn't want to work. The director didn't even watch the original movie. He's like, I don't know this old man you're talking about. I've never even seen the original movies. The director was treating him like shit. And so what did he do? He cut virtually almost all of Dr. Loomis' scenes that were important to the story out. So the theatrical version we saw, there's barely any fucking Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
And we see more Michael Myers. And so the theatrical cuts, which we're both mostly watched, that we're both known for watching, that movie to me feels like, it's like they wasted everything they had to making a good closure. Because I kind of figured that 6 was like the end of the Laurie Strode trilogy. You know, where it was going to be like, okay, finally, we're going to get to see what caused Michael Myers to do insane and all that. Mm-hmm. And man, when they killed her off in the beginning, man, I was outrageous. I was like, oh my god, you cannot do this. You cannot fucking kill off Jamie Lloyd.
Yeah.
And what do? They hired a different actress, too. You know why? Because Danielle Harris demanded a bigger salary. Yeah. And that's why they couldn't get her back. Because she wanted more money.
Yeah.
So, but I have all kinds of problems with that fucking movie, man. Like the annoying little kid in the movie, the fucking daughter, the only thing I can highlight that I like the most about that movie is the gore. Because there are some shots, there's some scenes in that movie where Michael Myers, he's like fucking brutalizing people, you know? Like the scene in the hospital. Remember when he's killing all those doctors? That shit was fucking scary.
Yeah.
But also I like, too, it was good seeing Dr. Loomis come back one final time. But if you watch the producer's cut, that's him basically screaming one last time in the movie.
Yeah.
That's the last time you ever see him, too. we'll be back in part 2 of our retrospective of the Halloween films coming soon. We'll see you guys later.